Hello to all my students, devout disciples. Welcome. This is your Master GongSun, Fu Seng Wu Liang Tian Zun. May the countless deities confer their blessings onto all of you. Now, today we will talk more about Feng Shui. So just to remind you all, Feng Shui is understanding that the entire planet has qi, which is vital life force, especially from natural landscapes, natural structures such as rivers and mountains and lakes and all that. And everyone who lives on Earth is affected by this qi. And it's divided into Seng qi, which means life, vital force, and Sha qi, which is killing vital force. So the point of Feng Shui, or Taoist Geomancy, literally means wind, water, right? The point of this is to maximize your life force, or rather to make sure that whatever forces are present in your environment, especially your home, a place where we spend a lot of time in, to make sure that that has as good or as auspicious qi as possible, and to minimize all inauspicious qi. And to do that, we need to understand the different directions. Now, there are many different ways of doing Feng Shui. Last time, in the first video, we talked about the ideal placement. I mean, ideally, your house would be, you would have some sort of mountain in the background with running water in front and two hills on your side, with the hill in the east slightly larger than the one in the west. But I understand not everyone lives in an independent, detached house. So we would have to make do with what we have, right? We go to war with the army we have, right? Not the army we wish we had. Now, in this series, I'll be talking about the different methods of Feng Shui. I use something called it's called the 全空飞行, which means the flying star method. But at the same time, that is also complementary with the BaGua method. Remember the BaGua? The hexagrams, right? They show up on the Taoist symbols, right? So what we do is that we actually divide. Let's say you live in an apartment, right? We divide your house into 9 different sections, or you can call them palaces. And then we figure out which section is most auspicious towards which particular category. Here's an example. So here we have the southeast section. Southeast is associated with the BaGua Xun, which means wind. So remember in my other video, I talked about what the wind represents, right? So what does the wind represent? Let's do a quick review here. So the wind here in the southeast corner of your house, it represents, in nature, well, it represents a movement of air and gases, right? But it's also associated with lots of different things. I don't have room to write it down, all of it down here, but I wrote down some of the important ones. So for example, if your southeast corner of your house is inauspicious, then it will affect your eldest daughter. And by inauspicious, I mean like if it's irregular shaped. It could be a lot of things. I'll go into more of this in other videos, but let's say if you have, ideally, a good shape would be a circle or a rectangle or like a square. So regular shapes are very, very auspicious. So think of circle, think square, think rectangles. But if you have things like, I don't know, like a cross or something like this, that's actually very difficult to make auspicious. So if you have any thing in that room that's inauspicious, or if the shape of the room is inauspicious, it will affect your eldest daughter. Now, there's a lot more to it than that. It might also affect, for example, the southeast, the Xun is associated with your lower limbs, so it might affect your lower limbs. It's also associated with the start of spring and summer. So it also has a planet associated with it, Jupiter. It's also associated with one of the 5 phases with wood. It represents a rising or awakening impact. And on it goes. There's lots to it. I mean, so it really depends. And that's why you need an actual feng shui practitioner to come into your house to look around to see if anything's the matter. If you're experiencing difficulties in any parts of your life, it might very well have to do with your own house or apartment. This could easily be applied to apartments as well. Okay, moving on, we have the south, which is associated with fire. That's Li, and that's associated with the middle daughter, as well as. So when you think fire, what do we think? Well, we think of the qi that is heat and light in nature, right? We're like expanding qi, right? We think of the planet Mars because it's fiery, right? So it's also associated with the eyes. So if you have anything inauspicious in this particular section, it might be, for example, causing blindness, right? It really depends. And then we have Kun, which is the mother. Remember Qian Kun? Qian is the divine yang, Kun is the divine yin. So the southwest corner has to do with the earth, and that's associated with the mother. So if this this corner of the house is inauspicious, then it will affect your mother or mother figure. Right? If the earth is about what? Balance, temperance, associated with Saturn, and the torso in terms of the anatomy. Then we have Zhen in the eastern part of your house, which is associated with the eldest son, which is what I am. I'm the oldest son. So luckily, we always practiced good feng shui principles when I was growing up. So I was actually fine. My room did actually face the east, actually. So we made sure there are no regular shapes or anything, for sure. So that's why I had a relatively smooth adolescence. And also, Zhen is the thunder, right? So what do we have here? It's associated with, well, in this case, it's the agitator, right? It's shocking, it's sudden. There's impact. And also, it's associated with the feet and the east, right? And of course, the middle of the house is the most important, I would say, because it affects everyone. So please make sure that whatever the middle part is does not have anything inauspicious, such as irregular shapes or missing corners. That is also very bad, actually. So let me give you an example. If you have a missing corner here, the southeast section is associated with wealth. So if for any reason you have a corner missing, your income, your family income is affected negatively. Similarly, here, the south is associated with luck and respect and recognition. So the good name of your family could be tainted if you have any sort of inauspicious thing in that area of the house, such as a missing corner or an irregular shape. But then again, this is beyond the scope of this video. I mean, some of you might ask me, how do I, let's say that I do have an irregular shape in this section of the house, how can I correct it? I'll tell you briefly. For example, if you have like an L shape, right, you can just put something here that makes the L shape into a rectangle. I don't know, maybe put like a table or something, right? So there's always things you could do to make things better. Let's continue. Yeah, because that's what I forgot to say earlier. Southwest corner affects what? The southwest corner affects the Kun, right, which affects the mother. It's also associated with love and romance and marriage. So if this corner is bad, then you might have something missing in your love life. Going back to the east, Zhen, we have what? We have I mentioned eldest son. It's also associated with let me think. Right, with family relationships and health. So it has to do with family harmony. If there's an empty center, it needs to be decorated, by the way, moving on to the middle now, or else it will create severe bad luck for everyone. The west is Dui, which is the youngest daughter, which is lake, and that is associated with the mouth. And it has the metal as the phase, one of the 5 phases. It has to do with the luck of the next generation, so your child luck, if there's anything bad here. Northeast corner is the Gun, which means mountain. So we're talking about the Qi is the mountains and hills. It's elevated, associated with the hands. If there's anything inauspicious here, we're talking about the luck of the family. So jobs, students, taking tests, all of that. Northern corner is Kan, which is water, and that's associated with the middle sun, and that's also associated with the ears, and that has to do with the fluids of life. So what do you think happens if there's a missing corner or any irregular shapes? It blocks your chance of fluidity, of advancement. And lastly, the northwest corner is Qian, which is the father. So this is actually very important. So if there's something missing there, you have to do what? I mean, what does that affect? It affects your father and his prospects. It also reduces the help you'll get from mentors. So you need a corner here, and you need all regular shapes here. Qian is also associated with the head, right? Because that's supposed to be the sky, the heavens, right? That's the head. And it's associated with the start of winter as well. Now, if you're missing a corner inside your apartment, you can install a mirror. I mean, technically, if you have a house, it's best to actually install a garden in that corner. But if you don't have that, then you'll need some sort of full-scale mirror. So let's say that your apartment is like, I don't know, the shape of this, right? Like a sideways U shape, right? But there's a missing corner, which is really bad, especially in the northwest corner. You'll need some sort of mirror. Of course, every situation is different. Everyone has different houses. So if you don't know what to do, then feel free to book a consultation with me. The link is down below. But I cannot think of every possible scenario because then this video would be like 3 hours long. So I want to at least keep it under 15 minutes. That is ideal. Now, there are certain guidelines. For example, the mirror should be large enough so that it's not higher than the tallest person in your household. It should never cut off the feet of anyone. Don't put them in the living room. I mean, don't put them in the kitchen, but you can put them in the mirror because it could double the food you have, which was very auspicious because it means you have what we call yu, which means extra, abundance, right? 丰富, right? And do not install any mirror in the bedroom that faces your bed, actually. That could be very bad to a marriage, for example, and would mean you get very little sleep. And don't reflect mirrors. I mean, don't place mirrors that reflects toilets or the main door. Yeah, those are all taboos in Feng Shui. Now, conversely, if you have missing corners are bad, but protruding corners that cut out, let's say it's a shape like this, right? That actually could be good. but you have to make sure that it's in balance with the main element of the home, whatever that is. For example, if you're doing it in the southeast corner, it's good for your wealth luck and benefits the eldest daughter, right? And don't forget that elements. I mean, shapes also have the elements or the phases attached. So, for example, circles are metal, and metal is of course good for banks, right? But not necessarily good for homes because metal is gold, right? And then we have squares. Squares are earth. They represent the earth, or rectangles, and are very suitable for residences. And that's why I said that we need regular shapes like squares and rectangles, because you want to build a solid foundation for your residence, right? Your home should be built on solid earth, because it offers support and stability and security and everything to do with the earth element or earth phase. I should call it the phase because it's not like the Western elements, because phases change all the time. So that's technically the best shape because it represents earth and wood, right? So, and some shapes are actually good depending on if it's like what it is. For example, this character here, if it's like this, right, then it means royalty, so it's quite auspicious. But some things are bad. For example, if you have a shape like this is xia in the Chinese characters, and it means down, which means down on your luck, and so that can't be good, right? Anyway, I probably have time for a little more. Or do I have time? No, I do have time. This video isn't that long yet. We need to understand the dragon's cosmic breath, which is Seng Qi. Remember I talked about Seng Qi and Sa Qi. This is intrinsic energy that brings good luck to you. And what we want to do is to have good flowing qi to congregate or accumulate in a certain corner of your house. This Seng Qi would scatter when the winds blow too strongly, but would stop and accumulate when it is in the presence of moving water. So remember we talked about the green dragon, right? This direction here, right? That's where the Seng Qi would reside. So that's a good environment if you can have this in the east. And what else? But this Seng Qi would transform into Sha Qi, or killing energy, when it moves too fast. So think about that for a minute here, right? We want to magnify abundance in life, right? Who doesn't want that? We want extra. We want more than enough. So it's important to keep all that in mind, to just understand the concept of qi. And sha qi, we'll talk about that now, is literally killing force, right? So if just as we want to increase this Seng Qi to make sure it flows properly, we want to deflect or disperse this Sha Qi. And we analyze that by looking at the landscape outside the house first, and then we look inside. I mean, what's on the outside is actually more important than what's on the inside, because the outside is natural flowing qi, whereas sa qi, even though it could also be inside the house, it's not as serious because it's not outside. It's not natural, right? We Taoists we try to live in harmony with nature, and that's why it's very important. That's why what's outside is more important. So, for example, if you have a I know this is beyond the scope of this video, but now that I've thought of something, I might as well say it. Like, it's really bad to have your house here, but then to have like a, let's say your house is right here, right? But this is actually a road, and this is another road here. So you're living in front of an intersection. Do you know why that's bad? It's because whenever the cars travel here, they bring their killing energy with you, even though they might be turning left or right, right? They still have energy pointed directly in front of your house. So, it's bad like that. That's why it's bad. And I should talk a bit more about the elements too. Actually, now that I'm already talking about this, we need to create harmony, right? So ideally in the southeast, right? Remember I said this is associated with wood, right? Wood is associated with green. So whenever you have, like, what you want to do is put green plants, or in spring, or not just in spring, but green plants in general, and put it in the southeast corner, right? Here we have red, so whatever is, like, it's good to put, like, that's why we have Hong Deng Long, which is the red lamps in Chinese culture, right? Because that's associated with summer, right? With rising energy. Southwest has earth, so anything that is earthy, like stones and rocks and crystals, right? That's earth, right? So in this corner of the house, moving on, thunder. Thunder here is also associated with big wood. So we want also dark green plants, flowers, and seeds. Here we have metal, so anything with white or gold, silver, anything to do with metal would be auspicious to put that in this corner of the house. Northeast we have this is earth, right? So anything earthy is good. Here is water in the north, so anything with blue or black or wintry, anything wintry would be great. And northwest, we're back to metal again. So these two corners of the house, very important for wealth, west and northwest. Anyway, I really should leave it at that. I don't want this video to turn to half an hour or anything. I'll talk more later in another video about other parts, other kinds of ways to look at Feng Shui. Anyway, this has been your Master GongSun. Thank you for tuning in. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao.